All right, it is 2 minutes after, so I will go ahead and get started with the introduction. So tonight we have Jon Gardham with us. Jon Gardham is a flight lieutenant with the UK Air Cadets, Royal Air Force Air Cadets. Having joined the organization as a cadet in 1999, Jon achieved the highest rank of Cadet Warrant Officer before joining the staff team and gaining his commission as an officer in 2005. Jon has covered various roles with the Royal Air Force Air Cadets, including being the officer commanding 2387 Pudsey Squadron, Wing Staff Officer for Adventure Training and Sports, and is a member of UK IACE, the International Air Cadet Exchange, team. Having attended IACE in the USA in 2013 and Canada in 2016, he has supported the delivery of the exchange to the UK since. Jon is a high school teacher, pupils aged 11 to 16 years old, specializing in teaching design technology, product design, and construction engineering. I'd like to welcome tonight Jon Gardham.
Hello there, and good evening from the United Kingdom. So it's just turned midnight here, so I'm so pleased to see so many join the presentation, and I'm glad that technology is working. So thank you for the introduction, Emma. We met back on IACE in the UK a couple of years ago, so it's fantastic that we're able to keep the programme running in these difficult times and connect across the world, which is one of the main aims of the programme. So I'll start off with the presentation. Get that on your screen. So yeah, that's me, Flight Lieutenant Jon Gardham, and obviously the organisation is the Royal Air Force Air Cadets. And it all started for me back in 1999, so that's my first parade night in uniform down at a little squadron called Pontefract, and I absolutely loved my time as a cadet within the organisation. And probably like many of yourselves, looking to do something with the time that you have as a teenager to widen your skills and make some really good friends. If I think about my time there at the unit, I'm still in touch with most of those people, and they are lifelong friends because you just sort of, you're on the same page, you've got the same interests, and the organisation just offers so much. I had to go up into the loft to try and dig out some of these pictures. So we've got obviously my first camp at Royal Air Force Cranwell, and we got to fly in the Bulldog aircraft, which is just pictured behind me. There's me leading a parade in my local town. That would have been sort of maybe 2001. And then finally achieving my Gold Duke of Edinburgh Award with the Cadet organisation and heading down to St James's Palace in London and meeting Prince Philip, who gave out the certificates on the day. So a fantastic achievement and a day full of memories. So like many of you, you sort of think, well, what's next after the cadet programme? What do I move on to? And definitely go into a staff position if that's something that is available to you. So gained my commission in 2003. That led on to me running my own unit, 65 cadets and 12 staff members. And we had a really good time putting on all the different activities and ended up being nominated as a top performing squadron. So we were in the top 5 in the country for our performance, and a great achievement and plenty of celebrations after the inspection. So there's a few pictures on there of the different uniforms that we wear. So the Air Cadets do wear exactly the same uniform as the Royal Air Force. So we've got the number 1s when I'm on parade. We've got number 5, the dinner suit. We've got what we call MTP, is our greens for when we're on the range or any outdoor activities. And then there's the IACE uniform, and there's a picture outside number 10 Downing Street. So as mentioned, I have worked with the Civil Air Patrol on my exchange across to the US. We were very lucky to go visit a squadron. My visit We did a little bit of time in Washington, DC, and then headed over to Nebraska and visited Iowa and Missouri. So we've got a nice insight into sort of the middle part of the states. And yeah, fantastic opportunity to see what you guys offer. And I must say, the Civil Air Patrol, same values, same ethos of the Royal Air Force Air Cadets. Later on, obviously a couple of pictures from the time there. I'm an honorary citizen of Nebraska. So there's me receiving my certificate from the Secretary of State there, and hopefully you'll recognise the Air Force Memorial on one of our day trips out. And then the same exchange over in Canada. And again, it's just about meeting people, comparing organisations and finding out about what people do within their sort of neck of the woods. And I think it's just such an amazing programme, and it's something that if you get the opportunity to go and apply, then please do so. Because I've had such a good time attending the US and then Canada, I was very keen to be part of the UK team. So for the last 5 years, I've been working with the headquarters Air Cadets to put on the UK programme, and I've been in charge of one of the groups that visit on three occasions now. And we've just got a couple of pictures from the programme. So 10 Downing Street, which is the home of our Prime Minister. The bottom picture is inside the Houses of Parliament. And then we've got some of the cadets enjoying an English afternoon tea. So you may notice that my accent isn't the same as the Queen's or those in London. I'm from the northern part of the country, but as you can see, the organisation is split into 6 regions. And just remember, in terms of geographic size, the map that you've got showing there is around the same size as Florida, so it gives you a little bit of idea about scale. So we're split into the 6 regions, and then each region is broken down into wings, and we have a total of 35 wings within the country. Overall, there's 1,000 squadrons, which is pretty good going for the organisation. And we have a separate sister organisation, the CCF, which is specifically run for private schools. And there's 200 RAF CCF units within the country as well. So whereabouts are we? So we can see where Edinburgh is within Scotland, Belfast within Northern Ireland, Cardiff in Wales, and the place that everybody always wants to go to is London. So I'm around 4 hours north of London in a city called Leeds, and my wing is the South and West Yorkshire wing. The main place that people know of when I've met them and said, "Oh, you're from the north, you know, have you heard of Manchester?" That's around 60 minutes away, so not too far. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of our layout and our structure. And then I thought this might be useful so you can sort of compare your organisation to my organisation. So if you become an officer within the Air Cadets, the highest rank you can achieve is that wing commander. So they're all our voluntary roles, which we are classed as volunteers within the UK Air Cadets. But then the actual organisation does have group captains, and in charge of us is an Air Commodore. And you can obviously see the equivalent below there. So that's our main structure, and we then are part of the Royal Air Force. We fall under number 22 group and take our directions from them. We don't operate as similar as the Civil Air Patrol. I know a lot of you guys get involved in sort of search and rescue, and that's a big part of your organisation. Whilst we do offer flying, we don't have specific sort of demands or needs or missions to complete within that sense. So the presentations you've had, obviously I got the briefing about leadership, and obviously the best place to start with this is what we look at within the Royal Air Force, and you can see that our core values, that the RISE acronym is central to what we structure the organisation on. But as part of our training, we do several courses down at headquarters, which is based at RAF Cranwell. And the aim of that course is to give you a snapshot and an experience of leading a team. And this is what they teach you to know and understand and be able to do so that you can be successful within that leadership. But for me, what I wanted to sort of cover off is sort of from my job within the sort of world of education, my time within the Royal Air Force Cadets, what are my 3 things that are most important for leadership? And I think the first one must be your team. You know, the decisions you are making, is that the best for the team? Are you thinking about the future, what's going to happen, what could happen? So putting your team and looking after those has got to be number 1 in any decisions that you make as a leader. Communication. So without that, people don't know what they're doing. You can have disagreements, you can fall out, or you might not complete the task that you're trying to get done. So communication has got to be up there as one of the main skills and things to focus on as a leader. Does everyone know what's happening? And then for me, I think a good leader reflects. So you've done a mission, or you've run a task or some sort of event, and then it's about reflecting and learning from that, identifying what went well, what could be improved, so that you are continuously improving yourself and your understanding of leadership. So that's sort of a bit of a snapshot about myself and sort of my views, but what I wanted to do is spend some time explaining the organisation and what we offer the young people of the United Kingdom. So a bit of a history lesson. Obviously started off back in 1938 as the ADCC, and that was to recruit and get people ready for the Royal Air Force, and eventually that evolved into what we call the Air Training Corps, which is the full name of the organisation. So that was set up back on the 5th of February 1941. So for those that can figure that out, in a few weeks' time, we will be celebrating our 80th birthday as an organisation. We had a lot planned, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen, not for the immediate future anyway. But hopefully, we can have a cyber celebration of turning 80 and make sure that we make the most of this year. You can see our organisation's badge, the Air Training Corps, and we've always had the motto, venture, adventure, although there's not much of that happening at the moment. So our main aims as an organisation is obviously getting young people interested in aviation, but also the Royal Air Force. We don't recruit for the Royal Air Force, but we do give that good insight into what the organisation can offer. We, as a youth organisation, we want to make sure that we're providing the training and the skills that are going to help young people develop into young adults, which will then help them either within their own jobs or within the active services. And then we want to develop that quality of leadership, be a good citizen, and have that spirit of adventure. So there are 3 main aims on there. Bit of a fun factor I found out whilst putting the presentation together. So currently 40% of officers within the Royal Air Force and 50% of the air crew are ex-cadets. So it goes to show that if you join the organisation, you've got a good chance of having a fantastic career within the senior organisation of the Air Force. And we are constantly changing and adapting. So we set off with 50 squadrons, and those squadrons have a letter F after their number to make them identified as a founder squadron. And we're now up to 1,000 squadrons across the UK. Obviously, 1980, we allowed girls to join the organisation. In 2014, we made a big decision to lower our recruitment age to 12 years old. And I know it doesn't sound much, but there were a lot of debate around doing that. And I think it's been a massive opportunity for the organisation to grow and get young people to join at that earlier age and get them interested. So we're now in line with some of our other organisations, such as the Sea Cadets and the Army Cadets, so it does bring us into line with that. 2019, they finally allowed beards, so similar to Canada, I know they've got a beard policy in their organisation now, so that's been a big change. And we've got Kate there as our honorary commandant. So she supports the organisation, she gets involved with meeting cadets, she takes part in parades, and being an ambassador for the organisation is fantastic. And we're currently around 40,000 Air Cadets back in 2019. Our biggest concern is numbers and what's going to happen post coronavirus. Obviously, numbers do seem to be on the downward spiral because we're not able to operate and put on the activities that we do. But hopefully, we can get back up there and get up and running within the next 12 months. Quick overview of the structure. So obviously, headquarters is core. They set all our policies. We've then got the regions, which are showed on the maps, and they sort of manage more local admins. The wings do your day-to-day paperwork, and then your squadrons are your detached flights, is units that the cadets actually attend and learn and develop from. So just to break up the presentation, a couple of items that you might find interesting. I weren't sure if there were like chat functions or messages on there to get people to get involved, but have a think, do you know what these are? And the answer is Yorkshire puddings, and I'm from Yorkshire, so I do enjoy Yorkshire pudding. And if you're trying to think, well, what is it? What do you do with it? It's not a dessert. It's actually part of what we call a Sunday roast, Sunday dinner there. So you'd have it with your main meal. And then I was reading online, and you can correct me later on, but apparently America doesn't have these objects, which concerns the UK quite a lot. So the picture might be a little bit bright there, but it's known as an egg cup. Apparently Americans don't eat boiled eggs, so I'll be interested to see if that is the case or not. And with the famous dish is eggs and soldiers, so you cut your bread up and then dip it into your egg. So you could have that as breakfast, or I do know quite a few people might have it as a small lunch. So just a bit of a break from the presentation for you there. Okay then, so looking at a more local level, this is the squadron that I formerly were in charge of, 2387 Pudsey Squadron, just on the outskirts of Leeds. Really successful unit. They offered a band, we did adventure training, archery, we take the cadets to Germany every 2 years, and really just sort of develop the young people of that area. So yeah, fantastic team, and they have got a Facebook group. More than welcome to follow them on there if you're interested to find out more about what the UK are doing. In terms of the activities then, it's a lot. I sometimes think we try to do too much as an organisation, but if you join, you should be able to experience the things that you can see listed on there, from getting formal qualifications that will help you with jobs and future careers, Obviously, drill and looking after your uniforms really important. Doing work for the community, being on parade, raising funds for local causes. That's all part of our programme. Attending Air Force bases and having some time to learn about the Air Force and staying on a base for 7 days. A chance to go flying and gliding, go target shooting, take part in team sports, developing your leadership skills in different courses that are available, gaining your Duke of Edinburgh Award. It's all about you pushing yourself and pushing your boundaries. And what this allows is for us to have quite a good variety of a programme, which keeps young people interested. If you're able to offer more options, then they will get to choose what they prefer. So although it can be hard work to manage, I think it is good that we're able to put on such a wide variety of activities. So each activity comes with its own set of badges. So this came out in 2017, and the idea is that you can progress. So if we take, for example, the shooting, so if you start on the air rifle, you can get obviously your blue badge and then work your way up to the higher activities, and that's to show that you're getting better, you're developing, and you're progressing. So the aim of the badge system is that you aim for the gold badge. So you start off on the blue badge. As you develop and learn, you move on to the bronze, silver, and then the gold. That is the aim for the cadets, to always give them a new challenge in developing. So that's the badge system. The cadets get to wear this on their uniform. They have a brassard on their arm. They can obviously update their badges as they go. A little bit more information there for you. For the Civil Air Patrol, and again, but this is just from speaking to some of the team, so your rank depends on what courses and qualifications. Well, our rank structure is completely separate, so you can do all these badges but not actually move up the rank structure. They go hand in hand, but the idea is that you can do the programme and you can do the different activities without always taking on responsibility. So we have a separate system, and those people are known as NCOs, and they are sort of the teenagers within the organisation that help run a squadron and a unit, and they support the staff members on there. So you would join as a corporal, work your way through to Cadet 1 officer. To get a rank and to be promoted, that's down to your own squadron OC. So they get to decide that. Obviously, you need to show that you've got leadership skills, that you're able to manage your team and motivate the cadets. And then the final one, Cadet 1 officer, not only does your OC need to approve you, but it needs to go to a wing panel and you attend an interview there. So it's quite a well-seen achievement if you get up to Cadet 1 officer. You'll notice that one says Staff Cadet. So any cadets that are over the age of 18, they must be identified as an adult, so they get to wear Staff Cadet within their shoulders to make that stand out. Otherwise, if you're under 18 and you've got a rank, you just have your normal rank slides, as you can see on the screen. A bit more about the classifications. So as I said, we want to teach people skills that are going to help them both in the services and within their normal day-to-day job. So these subjects are covered, and again, when you've met the criteria, you get your first badge, which is the first class cadet badge, and then again, work your way through the programme doing different exams until you get that high Master Air Cadet. If you do achieve that, you get a certificate which is known as a BTEC, which is an equivalent to a school qualification. So it's something you can put down when you're applying for college, when you're applying for jobs. But not only have you got your qualifications from high school, you've also got additional qualifications of an equal merit within aviation. So a fantastic achievement for those that sort of get to that level. And then obviously reflecting on my time within the organisation, and obviously presenting to the Civil Air Patrol, my number one life tip, which fits in with the International Air Cadet Exchange, is go see the world, go travelling, go see as many places as possible, as it's only then that you really do start to appreciate people. You get a lot more tolerant, you have a respect for different cultures and understandings, and that is what's going to make this world a better place, and for you to really develop as a person. So go travel, do as much as you can. I found the last 12 months really frustrating with holidays being cancelled and not being able to travel. But I appreciate the situation on there, but I am just dying to get on an aeroplane again and get out there. So bit of sort of stats. I've covered 28 countries so far. I would like that to be higher, which works out about 11% of the world. Done a lot of Europe with a few more trips planned. So some of the key places that I've managed to see. And then I'm a massive fan of the States. So I've managed to do 10 states plus Washington, DC. And hopefully I will get the rest of them done over the next 20 years. My thoughts are for my sort of 60th birthday to maybe go to Hawaii. So that might be the last day that I get to tick off. But we will see on that one. And a couple of pictures of the different places that have been. So I aimed for around 30 minutes. So we're not doing too bad for timings, but that just means that we can open the floor up. I'm happy to answer any questions. Over to you guys, really. Thank you very much.
John, hey, this is Steve Jones from Ohio here. Hey, I want to thank you first for being on here and taking the time. I know it's really late. We've got a great relationship with all the cadet programs around the country, around the world, especially in the UK there. Can you talk a little bit about some of the flying opportunities that are available to cadets throughout the different stages in the program?
Yeah, sure. I've got a slide for that that will make it a little bit more interesting. So I'll just bob that back on. So to go flying, it's the first slide up there because I think it's probably the most important, isn't it? To be an air cadet, you need to be able to go into the air. So yeah, started off with the Chipmunk. They look so old, these aircraft, but they were solid. They did last. Moved on to the Bull. Currently, we're flying the Tutor, which is a German aircraft. So cadets get to sign up to go flying from the age of 13 after a year of being with us. The aim of the organisation is to give them one flight a year where possible, and that flight will normally last around 25 minutes. So you'll attend an RAF station, get kitted up, helmet, parachute, meet your pilot. They tend to be Air Force pilots that are flying on a weekend to sort of keep their hours as a private pilot's license, and then go off and start flying. And your first flight will just be learning the controls, sort of getting a feel for how to move the aircraft. And then the second and third time you go, you are able to experience aerobatics. So I remember sitting there as a cadet and you're doing the loop, barrel rolls and things like that. And it is just fantastic. It's the best 25 minutes you can experience. And all that is free. It's completely covered by the Royal Air Force. As you move to your 16th birthday, you're able to go gliding and you can build up your hours to actually get a solo flight. And then at the age of 17, you can apply to actually fly solo in an aircraft. So you'll go and start to work towards your private pilot's license. Not quite all the way, but you get enough hours that would go towards that, and you get to obviously fly the aircraft yourself. And that's open to our older cadets. Any further questions? Flying?
Yep, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Please don't be shy. Obviously, ask away. This is a fantastic opportunity, and I'm more than happy to cover anything that you might be thinking of. So if I could ask a question then to anyone who'd like to answer it with regards to the Civil Air Patrol, what's the current situation over in the States at the moment? Are you suffering with cadet numbers similar to ourselves? Sort of what's your state of play as an organisation?
I guess I can sort of take that. We are definitely having some recruiting and retention issues, as I assume the Royal Air Cadets are as well. But I think a lot of people in a lot of wings are still doing virtual meetings, so completely meeting versus Zoom or Teams, that sort of thing, and that's really impacted our numbers as well.
Yeah, it's similar to us. It's made us think differently, and the technology's there, isn't it, so that you can easily meet up with people virtually, and it's actually made us get some interesting speakers in and sort of think differently about what we offer the cadets. So yeah, it's good that you know, both organisations, it's that ability to adapt and change to keep the organisation going. And you know, I'm sure there'll be some big recruitment drives in the coming months as we go back to some form of normality.
Let's see, it looks like there was a question in the chat. It says, "Thank you, sir. I've met several Royal Air Force cadets while at Oshkosh Air Show, Blue Beret. Have you ever sent any cadets to Blue Beret?"
Not personally, and not from my wing as far as I know. So it'd be interesting to see who they've been. Was that part of IACE, or was it a more of a private organisation that had set that up?
Let's see. Okay, she says she believes they came through IACE.
So yeah, the way the IACE program works for the UK is we've got those 35 wings. We only send, I say only, it's still quite a large number, around 90 UK Air Cadets get to participate in IACE each year. So it works out about 3 per wing. And what they try to do is rotate where each wing is able to go, depending which countries are taking part, depending on numbers, etc. So I think it's been a while since any of the cadets in my local area have managed to get over to the States. But hopefully that'll be coming back around. The last time we did it would have been when I visited in 2012. Like I say, we went to Nebraska. They sort of sent us all to different areas for our in-depth visit. Very flat part of the country, I've got to say, Nebraska. Lots of corn.
All right, does anybody else have any questions?
Yes, if I may. This is Cadet Captain Nathan Jaffrey. John, I was over in England with IACE back in 2019 with you. I just had one question for you. What was your most memorable experience in the Royal Air Cadet program?
For the whole organisation or just IACE?
Whichever you choose.
I think for IACE, it's just a fantastic opportunity every single year. It's meeting the people and having those discussions that we have, and sort of going on that journey of exploring the UK, and what a fantastic achievement to be an ambassador and represent your country and represent your organisation. So there's definitely a buzz about IACE. If I think back to when I were a cadet, what's the biggest thing I got out of the organisation? Probably achieved my Gold Duke of Edinburgh award. So the Duke of Edinburgh is an international award now. I'm not sure if it's something your organisations come across, but it was set up by Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, over 60 years ago. And again, the aim of it were to build young people and develop their skills. So as part of that programme, you need to develop your physical ability, you've got to learn a new skill, you've got to do something that benefits the community, and you've got to do an expedition. So the expedition, depending on your level, could be 2 days all the way up to 4 days, but you've got to be self-sufficient and obviously achieve the route that you plan. So the award is split into bronze, silver and gold. There's less than 1% of the population have a gold DV award. Not as many people get to that level, but I pushed myself and I got the Gold Duke of Edinburgh award. And as I said earlier in the presentation, went down to London, and Prince Philip, you know, the Queen's husband, awarded me the certificate, which is just a brilliant opportunity, and not many people get to do that. So that's the biggest thing I took away from the cadets.
That's great. Thank you, John.
Any other questions?
Another chat
John,
message.
can you talk a little bit about some of your former cadets and things that they've gone on to do later in life?
Yeah, sure. So like I say, we had a really successful unit at Pudsey. I'd say it was an underperforming unit, and then with the staff that got put in there, we really turned it around. And a lot of the cadets do go into the armed forces. So we've got one's a REME within the army fixing helicopters. James went on, and I don't know how he's done it really. So he's in the army, but all he ever does is parachute. He just does parachuting all the time, and it's not even as part of his trade. It's just a main hobby of his. Lewis is an engineer and also represents the Air Force at hockey. And then one of my favourite parts of being a leader really is a young man called James, who pushed himself sort of from a disadvantaged area, but lovely lad, went all the way through the cadet programme and managed to get one of the final scholarships from British Airways, and that led him to be a 747 pilot and flying around the world, having the time of his life. And then I got a phone call one day saying, I've got you some tickets, get yourself down to Heathrow, we're going over to San Francisco. So he was flying the plane and I was sat in first class, and it was just a brilliant experience. So for me, sort of supporting a young person to achieve their dreams, he thanked me with a first class ticket to America, which were just wonderful. So yeah, lots of people though don't make the armed forces, but they go on. I feel that, and I see this in my day-to-day job as a teacher, those young people that do stuff like cadets and the other organisations, they stand out, they push themselves, they've got drive, they've got determination and ambition, and they've got a skill set that other teenagers of their age don't possess. And it's that what makes a difference. So then they go on to be the leaders of tomorrow. You know, they go further in the company, they go higher up in the company. So I think just what you learn from these organisations around the world makes you that difference and gives you that possibility to sort of aim higher.
Right, not another question, but there was another chat message. Dr. Paul said she went to England through IAS as a cadet back in 1994. She said she received her first glider flight there and loved it, and it's still one of her favorite experiences.
Oh, fantastic. I'm glad we managed to get you to fly. It's not something always possible on IAS, but we do try where we can. So hopefully you got a good view of the country. And like you say, it's those memories that you keep forever. And you guys do a lot more flying than we do. That's something we've seen when we've compared organisations.
All right, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, I'll take that silence as a no. If anyone does want to get in touch with John, feel free to reach out to me and we can coordinate contact info that way.
Yeah, definitely. If you think of something, obviously get in touch with Emma and she can send an email across. More than happy to answer any questions that come up at a later date.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, John, and thank you so much for everyone that came tonight, listened, and asked questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep. Take care. All the best for your futures. Remember, travel the world, push yourself, and make the most of the time that we've got. And it's been lovely to have this opportunity to present. Thank you to Emma and the team for putting it together. And look after yourselves, stay safe, and good night from the UK.
Have a good night.
See you later.